Hey guys, how's it going? In the quarantine quarters. And let's see, wait for a few more people to enter, and then we'll have some updates. And a lot has been happening over here. But how about you guys? The service has been acting kind of weird, so I'll let it kind of roll in and make sure we're all connected. Hello, Markers. Hello, Nicolette. Hey, guys. How's it going? Hey, Jungle Boy NYC. What was it? What is it? The picture that they pop up there. Hey, Hillary. Hey, Christine. Hey, everyone. How are you guys doing? Annabelle, Michelle. Hey. Hey, everyone. So, been making a lot of progress here. A lot on many different levels and scales. Quick update, I still have to post a lot of readings. The Mercury retrograde readings and also the Venus retrograde. So those are done. And hopefully I'm hoping to post them maybe sometime at least by the end of this week. So what is that, tomorrow? Just like another day here. But hopefully I'll post soon. And it's really exciting, actually. Those readings were pretty intense, so I will have those hopefully up soon. And again, yes, the Mercury retrograde. And side note, so furthermore, I've gotten rid of a lot. The pile of clothes over there that was kind of slowly growing is being kind of swept out slowly but surely. And it's interesting. Who was it yesterday? I think it was Divine Nicotero. Was it Divine? Someone had mentioned yesterday, in the live chat, they were like, take your time, like, no rush. And I was talking about like wanting to get rid of a lot of stuff. And was Divine Nicotero, are they in the room? Anyhow, however it may be, I remember reading that comment, and like today I was like, because I it's that feeling when you're like, wow, it's so wonderful, like, this space of regeneration, and you want to just kind of jump into it and do it all at once. At least I kind of have that tendency. Like, also when I find something is working, I'm like, yes, like, and not always is it right that more is necessarily better. So I kind of like last night I was like, all right, I really want to handle that pile over there, but take your time. So I did, and today I reached it. So funny, 36 people in the room, and it was 3 minutes and 6 seconds right there. That's actually my birthday. Interesting. Okay. Anywho's. So yeah, and today I tackled it. I was like, well, part of it, and I was like, all right. So continuing, and it's a process, right? And then we're like, oh, we're done with this, and it's always kind of, so just kind of flowing with it when you feel that there is a space that is open and ready to kind of connect with. Hey, Clarity Del Tarot. Hey. So yeah, so, and it's interesting because when I got rid of more stuff, it's like you feel the tension. At least this is how I felt. I felt the sort of the tension with that space energetically in some way and physically, whatever else. And it's like you go through this sort of, it's kind of like a coaxing period. It's like, all right, are we ready to let go of this? Are we ready to release this? And in so many ways we interact with the world around us. It's like physically when we're looking at something, we're observing it, but then we're also interacting with it maybe on a subconscious level, emotionally, psychically, so it's interesting. At that point where you're parting with something, there's so much that's going on, and to be gentle with yourself during that process, so to speak, is sometimes helpful. Hello, Christina. Or however you feel, right, guided to connect with that sort of concept of regeneration. And someone else actually mentioned something really, really neat, that, it's, do you really let go of things, right? Did you have that thing and then like you no longer, like, you lost it? Energy is fluid, so it's just kind of like that space of allowing it to flow and continue. It's kind of interesting. So yeah, and with everything, I feel you have a relationship, right? You have a relationship in a certain way with everything in your environment, in a certain way it interacts with you. on so many levels, even with aura, right? So what we sort of associate with certain things might be what you sort of interact with in that moment when you find a new way to interact even with whatever that is. So, let's say that you've held on to a certain object for a certain period of time. You might have had a certain association with it, and that might be coming up for review. And it's funny because we are moving in Venus retrograde, pre-shadow period, we're already in it. So really bringing up big questions around what is it that we also hold value, right, for in relation to certain things. What does it mean to value certain things in relation to certain other things as well? So I don't know what that might be alluding to for, you guys always take it as you will and however you interact with the concept. But yeah, it was very interesting because, and then you kind of realize, well, it's not really, let's say, me getting rid of whatever this is or me sort of releasing it. It's that mutual space, right, of like how we allow ourselves to synergistically move through whatever this experience is. So it's like, even if it is an inanimate object, because all physical, right, all physical form is energetic as well. So again, take it as you will. Hello. La 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 la. So yeah, Annabelle. Oh boy. Hello. So yeah, and it's interesting to also feel how the shifts take place on so many other levels. It really is like a dislodging, like a detoxification. When you let go of things physically, then it's almost like you find that you might, well, I'm sharing, my experience, but you find perhaps that things begin to kind of shift as well emotionally, where it's like you start to feel things that begin to flow more freely. And so when I'm getting rid of this stuff, it's almost like I'm feeling also differently about even like what's in my kitchen, right? Which you would think, well, I'm getting rid of clothes. What does that have to do with my fridge? But lo and behold, getting rid of my clothes really, I started to feel like, well, what is it actually that I'm not only like holding in my space around me, but also within me, like in my body? What is it that I choose to allow, even within my sort of vessel? So, which is the form that we take on here physically in this dimension. So it's like interesting, right? The home is a sort of vessel, and then you have this also vessel of your body. So it's all around sort of like synergistic, and when you find that you're letting go of one thing, it's almost like a chain reaction. It's like, it is that domino effect, as I've found and finding. And I haven't ever really been confronted with this process of release, like at this level. This is like the first time I'm like really going through this like release and purge. I've never really had a moment or a chance to do that. So I'm letting go of things that are like truly like they go maybe 10 years back. I'm letting go of a lot of stuff, and it's interesting. So until we're brought to question, and isn't it interesting that it's happening during the lockdown season? So yes, spring cleaning, exactly. So I'm happy to hear that, Divine Echo Tarot. Yay! And Clarity Doll, very cool. And Eva, are you guys? Very cool. Yes, Hillary. Exactly, curating. Hello, Letitia. Yeah, but again, always take it as you will, and just allowing to flow. On another note, I made frankincense water from frankincense resin. Has anyone ever done that? I'm curious. And I'm wondering if you can use this like as a mouthwash. Do you guys know if you can? Annabelle, wow. I've heard that frankincense is antibacterial. Is that right? And another thing that it's funny, a lot of different things popping up here that I want to like touch on. Another thing is it's almost like it's like this process of like getting rid of stuff, let's say, and release. Like it's so much like a wave. Like let's say you let whatever that was flow, and then it's like, in the space that it was, and you have to kind of just allow it to kind of also move within itself. Everything's so fluid. Isn't that interesting? It's funny. Did you, Fatima, you got frankincense resin tonight? How interesting. Yeah, I want to, okay. Oh, really? Oh, so wait, Hiller. Okay, thank you for googling that. You have to mix it with coconut oil. So what I did, I took the resin as like little pieces. It looks like wax. So I guess they gather these from the trees, and it's, I think, the hardened sap. So it looks like this. And so I put it in boiling water on the stove, and then it turned to this cloudy mixture. So should I mix that with I love frankincense. I love it. It's such oil I've used. But I'm wondering about this like tincture. If I can like rinse with it. Hey, Status Divine, do you? Such so magical, huh? So magical. Okay. The website that I got it from, it for some reason, it says I got it from Mountain Rose. They say it's not for internal use. I mean, they've got to say that, right? Unless it's certified for like internal use, which probably means like don't swallow it. But I've heard it's organic. I mean, I've heard that people do drink this. But it should be okay as a rinse, mouth rinse, right? Cleansing. Oh, marker. Yeah, marker. So diluted, very much diluted. I had like 5 pieces. I had 5 pieces like, well, actually. So I poured. It's actually more. I have my toothbrush in here and I'm soaking it. This is charcoal mix, charcoal with frankincense and salt. So I'm like disinfecting my toothbrush, like everything. Anyone tunes them right now? time to go. Okay. Where's the Virgo reading? Oh, okay. So no, but I'm disinfecting because it's like, well, if you're gonna rinse your mouth out, right? Like you're gonna use your toothbrush as the same sort of thing. So anyhow, disinfecting, which may be a good idea every so often to do, right? But again, always use your intuition. This is a mix of this like basically antibacterial. So but imagine that much water with like four of those like little resin pieces. Yeah, I love frankincense too. Itch. Uh-oh. Oh, really? Okay. Truth in me, you use it as a rinse? Oh. Frankincense! So, all right. So I took this. This is the melted resin and frankincense, and I put it on my hand. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll let me test it on my palm on my hand first to see. If I don't think there would be a reaction. It's fine. I've used frankincense, even the essential oil, like so concentrated number of times. But this, I just tried on my hand, totally fine. On my face, totally fine. But I really want to use it as a mouthwash. I want to like, because I have some cavities that I'm wanting to address, but naturally. Oh, really? Where can I get that? Markers. Like I have a few cavities and I'm thinking of making even like a paste and setting it on the cavity itself, like maybe with clay. I would imagine that would like extract, right? It's like absorptive. And then mixing that maybe with like something like frankincense with this wild, you said wild lettuce extract? I'll have to look into that. Uh-huh. Oh, truth in me, you drink it. Wow. So it's a detox. Where do you get yours from, the resin that you drink? Because for some, I mean, I guess they, again, all they have to say, like, not for internal use, but it should be right. All right. Terry. Peppermint oil. I have peppermint oil. Clove oil. Astrology cherry, yes. Vitamin C, so important. Well, I have, let me show you what I have. I have liposomal vitamin C. It's like and it's with arlipoic acid, which is so super detoxifying. It like it gets your liver to, I think, to produce more glutathione, and it helps it regenerate and detoxify. Phase 1 and 2 of liver regeneration, from what I remember reading. So, because I remember I would actually, yeah. So it's pretty powerful, this stuff, supposedly. I've been taking like 4 squirts. It's like 4 squirts. Are you guys familiar with this stuff? So yeah, if I were to create like a paste, right? And just like, could I sleep with that? Like put it on my teeth and just sleep with that, and it might like absorb bacteria. Like, I just wonder, like, if you were to cover, like, let's say a cavity with some sort of clay paste that has antibacterial properties and also like absorbative, like, how, I mean, I would imagine that would sort of work in some way. Turmeric, yes. Really? Oh, my status. Okay, so turmeric paste, because I have some turmeric. It's really potent stuff. It's the capsules, and I'll open those. And I was doing some oil pulling with coconut oil and turmeric capsules, and I was like oil pulling with that for a little bit, and then I was doing the saltwater rinse. So, so I want to, well, what I want, so there's supposedly this thing. I'm not a doctor, gotta say it right, but suppose you can arrest a cavity. So the cavity can actually like stop, and they say, I've heard at that point that then your tooth can actually regenerate. Again, not a doctor. You gotta just say that, right? All right. So they do say Christine Bentonite Clay. So, in other words, this is what I've heard. Again, I've been reading about this. Like, if you arrest a cavity, right? If it's like, if it has actually eaten into your tooth, I'm not sure. Again, the terminology, whatever it might be, but if it does eat into your tooth, supposedly, um, and you arrest the cavity, so I've heard, it will actually stop it from further growing, and then it will sort of like, again, regenerate, and it'll harden. So, but it won't like grow necessarily. I've heard it again. The dentin back, or the tooth back. Oh, are you Divine Ecotera? Okay, wait. Let me scroll up. Yes, I'm taking vitamin K2, vitamin D, and magnesium. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. I'm gonna look into that, Lala. I will click that once I'm out of the chat. So yeah, there were so many interesting articles. People who like researched tribes who would, again, this is what I read, who would naturally treat these things, and they would use different types of natural tinctures. But of course, you know, the diet is so important. So, you know, it's like so many factors. Diet, sleep, exercise, you know, and so it's all sort of synergistic, you know, to allow your body to do, you know, the healing space. Oh, really, Lala? What is that? What is the link? Hmm. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny status. I feel that way. I do. It's so funny. I feel that way. It's interesting. And I've always had a thing for herbs. Yep, that's right, Nicholas. That's so right. That's so right. So cool status. That's so neat. Wow. Awesome. Huh. It's funny, Kevin. You say that. I know. I have a thing with herbs, I'm telling you. And it's almost like, well, I had these cavities, and and like I did go to the dentist. I got the X-rays, and it was like, yeah, you have 6 cavities, and I'm just like, okay, I'm like, first of it's like, I feel this way, like I'm not gonna fill them. Like I've got to figure like a natural way out, because I feel like there has to be a way. You know, the body is so regenerative, so it's like I feel guided to move in that direction. Like it's almost like my spirit guides were like, no, you're not gonna just go and build up. You need to like work on this. This is your homework, sort of feeling. So I'm like, at this point, okay, Frankincense and other things. So, but hey. Oh, interesting. So, well, I've heard as well. What is that herb nipbone? It's comfrey root. So that's also an interesting. Oh, wait, I have to click on it to save it right now. You've been dreaming about it? Ooh, interesting status. Oh, the tooth repair kit. Oh, Gary. Okay, that's very interesting. Is that what is that what is that what Lala just sent? Yeah, so I was gonna go to a natural dentist. I was actually gonna look into that, and supposedly there are like a few who are. This is before the whole lockdown thing, but there are a few who work like extensively with regenerating teeth, and I was like, oh, I so want to like look into that, but now we're in lockdown, so I was like, all right, you know, where are your herbs at, Nat? Where are your herbs? Oh, I see. Okay. Hmm. Interesting. Right, Zena? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't have clove oil. Yes, Gary. Right? I've heard that if you apply the comfrey like too soon, it can cover up, right? So you have to drink. So, okay. Yeah, right, right. That would make sense. But what if you, so if you, let's say, right, if you've got like a cavity and then and then let's say like either you cover it, or you you like with comfort, if your tooth kind of like grows over it again, then how could it survive within your tooth without any like access to food or water or anything like that? How could it like survive if it was totally like covered? You're not too late, Miss Ryan. It's all right. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Metal, I'm glad to hear that. You enjoyed the Leo bonus reading. Awesome. Your body feeds it? Right, right. Only composite. Mm-hmm. Hmm. So teeth have roots like trees. Mm-hmm. Got it, with clove oil. So I just have to get like an essential oil, and then I have to dilute it in water. Is that? And then I swish it. Can you guys email me? Like if you feel guided and you've got like some kind of protocol or something of that's interesting information. NATJANFAZA@gmail.com. Just a side note. Nicholas Tree of Life. So, oh, you sent me a message. Oh, I think I saw that Mystifying on Twitter. Mm-hmm. So, you guys, side note, I want to get a mortar and pestle. Or is it a pestle mortar? Mortar pestle. Oh man, I'm so into spices, but I don't even. It's funny, like, and whenever I see one of those things, I just get so excited. So I want to like, for example, like to make tahini. Oh, tahina. Use the sesame seeds, right? And like grind them up and into a paste. It's just like so fulfilling, so satisfying. So, and I think, right, you guys, I mentioned this, I'm taking off all of the labels on all my bottles to encourage transparency. So it's like, when I look at, let's say, a bottle of something, I want to see exactly what it is. Like, instead of seeing let's say, the marketing on the bottle, the colors of the label, I want to see the actual food that I would be eating. And so we'll see how that goes, But always huge personal torture, whatever you feel guided to do. Just kind of going with the flow here. At least, for now, and we'll see what then comes next. Maybe I will like label them very simply, because sometimes I'm like, is that sunflower seed butter, or is that tahini? So a little label might be helpful. But so intuitive cooking. So yeah. I also want to look into how do you pronounce that? Qigong. What is with the energy work? Also wanting to look into that. So these are just these little revelations that have been coming through. And what about you guys? Are you guys have you found like that you're having revelations? Have you guys found that you're having revelations? It is fun to remove labels. Is that what you're saying? Sounds fun? You guys, I got a notification from YouTube earlier today. I got this email. They were like, you have like 10 notifications. I'm like, what? From YouTube. I'm like, all right. Let's see. Copyright notice. Copyright notice. Copyright. And it like sends me this long list, like 10 songs of all the oldie songs we're playing last night in the live. Yeah, YouTube was like, yes, these are claimed. You cannot monetize this video. And I was like, I'm just happy they didn't take it down. And it wasn't like a notice. It was just like, hey, you're just not gonna be able to monetize it because you don't own these songs, girlfriend. So yeah, I'm like, all right. Uranian alien. No, I'm not. I'm not that on point with my key for them in the readings to be like, I can't monetize. Can you imagine? Yeah, right? Cool. So yeah, now one thing is the cavities, but I also want to strengthen. Like I found that, we have symptoms. There are things, everything sort of is a symptom. And I totally, like, I find that is a philosophy that I resonate with. Like, let's say if you've got a cavity that is kind of pointing to something else that might be taking place, like inside of your body, and ultimately, right, it kind of comes down to, or forward to the immune system, right? Like how your body's able to also regenerate and sustain. So, in any space of healing, wow, that's way more clear, you guys. Take a look at this. I just took off a few more labels. This, I was ordering food off online, and they just like add this in my, I don't know, it was like it was a substitute for something else. And yeah, I'm not gonna have that. It's like almost all processed, so I don't know. Maybe I'll just take the label off it. I don't know, but I want to know like what the ingredients are just in case for whatever reason. Anyhow, and but we're grateful for everything. Now, what else were we saying? Yeah, so kind of like everything is sort of like a symptom. It can be seen as like a symptom, and it's gonna take forever. Oh man, but it's fun. That's all right. So, did anybody else find this like satisfying? She's ripping the labels off her bottles. What's going on? So now, yeah. So it's kind of like, even if and my teeth aren't. They're not in pain, thankfully, right? Or at least I'm not feeling pain. But I want to just strengthen my teeth, my body, my bones, right? Your teeth are, what are they considered, bones, right? So it's like, if that's sort of like, if your teeth are having this sort of symptom, it's like, well, I want to address whatever else, might be a question as well, of the physical sustenance. And not just like, oh great, I got rid of this issue, but like, how is it that I'm actually strengthening and empowering, right, that space of regeneration continuously? And I can totally, I have fallen victim to that, where I'm like, I'm better, I don't feel pain anymore, and then you're just like kind of like forget to keep up with whatever that was working, right? So, and that's fine, that's normal, but in always, cycles of experiences. So yeah, so I'm just gonna pull these off, and then I will go ahead and wet it. This is almost done anyways, though. What could I use this for once it's done? You guys have any ideas? Because it's like a nice glass bottle. A vase. Interesting. Uranian alien. You don't say. That's a great idea. I like it. I like it. I think that might work. I just need plants now. Some flowers and whatnot. Okay. And we are grateful for health. So Grateful for health and to be here. La 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 la. And I hope you guys are all doing well during the lockdown. Someone was talking about how it's like the most important thing is immunity, building your immune system. Um, and it's sort of like to think, well, preventative in a certain way. The stronger you, right, the immune system. Are you guys focusing on that as well? You guys like, we have homework, man. Immune system, furniture clearing, putting away clothes, scratching off labels. Oh, you grind your teeth? Yeah, my sister grinds her teeth. Sometimes we would sleep together and like we would cuddle, and like we'd spoon. If you guys are wondering who's the big spoon, is a little spoon, well, we alternate. We keep it fair and square, or fair and spoon. And yeah, so anyhow, and sometimes like all of a sudden I would hear like in the middle of the night like grinding, and like I would have to just, I'd be like, Natasha, you're grinding your teeth, and like she wouldn't respond. So like sometimes I would just, because it's like not good, right? So I would get like freaked out, and I would like hold her jaw. I'd be like, Natasha, you're grinding your teeth, and then she'd be like, what? Wake up, and so imagine if she just tuned in right there. Talking about me grinding my teeth at night. What? So yeah, but they make things for that, right? They make what is it, the guard, mouth guard? So yeah. But anyhow, you guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for connecting. It's so fun. And I still have more clearing and cleansing to do. I've been washing some stuff, putting some stuff away, but really just making a habit of questioning everything. Like, if I'm gonna put something in the corner of the room, what is that thing? And like, so getting into the habit of that, not procrastinating, taking it on, right, head on. This is a very much Aries kind of energy, and we are in that season, right? Definitely feeling it here. So peanut butter on the label. Oh, how interesting. Markers. You don't say. I just got rid of the peanut butter. Okay. But it's okay. It's like a finger workout. Hello, Michael. Michael, how are you guys doing? Just believe. Hey. That would have, yeah, we got rid of it. Tars. That's a huge compliment. Thank you. Thank you. It's funny because my English teachers would always, almost always, like, they always had something, like, critical to say. Well, my essays were like, what are you writing? What are you writing? It doesn't make sense. It's too complicated. It's da 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 da. Oh, like, almost always, like, without a doubt. And it's funny because it was, like, my favorite class was English, but for some reason, it was like, I don't know, too philosophical, too whatever it was. So it just goes to show, it's like, look at Einstein. Like, they said he was like friggin' stupid, and he friggin' absolutely was not. No one is stupid, right? It's like, but it's interesting. So, but I always, yeah, I enjoyed English. So, anyhow. Yes. Christina, yes, I am really thinking I want to get off of all like caffeine, because it wrecks your adrenal system. Your adrenal it can, I don't want to say and call out absolutes, but what I've heard, and I think it does give me a little bit of IBS, like gives me some like kind of like a stomach ache sometimes. So I want to really focus on healing the gut, and the digestive tract. And actually, hey, but always listen to your body, right? It's such a personal thing for everyone. But I find that that might be a focus for me. Focus on um, also reducing inflammation, and I might react to caffeine. I'm not sure, but um, the only way to really find out, right, is to like try eliminating it from your diet, along with a number of other things that are on that list that are can generally be considered allergens, and then you can slowly, let's say, introduce it back into your diet a few weeks later, and you'll know almost immediately if something works with you. If it doesn't, most likely that's what they say. And I actually did the elimination diet, right? And that's what I think it's called. I eliminated like almost all allergens, and then I slowly started to introduce them again into my diet, and um, it was very clear. Like one little spoon of something, I was like, oh, I have a little bit of a rash. Okay. Um, and you'll notice also in terms of your energy level, fatigue, and things like that. You'll notice if, oh, I feel a little congested, and I feel like that's causing a little bit of mucus. And that could be your body sort of like giving feedback, right? Like a response, like, I don't know with that. Does your body like see it as a foreign invader that it needs to kind of like, kind of, that is kind of what the immune system is, right? So, um, and yeah, so I want to focus on that, which would mean really eliminating a few things and then seeing, right? Yeah, elimination diet. Ooh, Nicholas, stelliums. So I have a few thoughts on stelliums. Stelliums are interesting. So Nicholas is asking, what is it about stelliums and things like that? I found, well, so let's say it like this, right? In the astrology wheel, at the time of your birth, there were all of the sort of like constellations, right, in the sky. So in your birth chart, you've got all energies. You're sort of this composition, right? This beautiful composition of all energies. Now, at the time of their birth, now we'll also say this, there are all planets, right, in the sky at the time of your birth as well. So your birth chart is sort of like a living embodiment of that sort of energetic snapshot of the universe at the time that you entered into this sort of dimension in this space, the time of when you were born. And so at that time, again, they're all planets and they're all in a certain part of the sky. So they're kind of like filtering through, as I see it, certain energies. So if you've got, let's say, like 3-4 planets in a certain constellation, so like let's say 3-4 planets in a certain area of the sky at the same time, it's gonna be a lot of a certain energy, right? Generally, like in terms of relatively, let's say. So you'll say you've got your sun in Pisces. It's like, all right, well, the sun is the strongest sort of source of light, illumination, luminary, right? And in Pisces, it's gonna naturally give you, right, quite a bit of Pisces energy. But let's say as well you've got your moon in Pisces, then that's not quite a stellium yet, but that's also pretty significant. The moon is the second, right, is another luminary, water-based luminary. So in Pisces, then you got quite a bit more of that sort of Pisces energy, and there will always be so many factors at play, right? And so on and so forth. But just a general note. Now, let's say that you've also got your Mars in Pisces. That's like Sun, Moon, Mars. You got a stellium, 3 to 4 planets or more in the same sign, even in the same house, will sort of prescribe a stellium placement, which is so-called quote unquote rare. Now let's say, right, imagine, this is how I see it actually, if you imagine that you've got 3 to 4 planets in a certain archetype, and that is like 3 to 4 out of how many planets, angles, nodes, whatever you're considering total, okay, like let's say we'll give 10. Now 3 out of 10, let's say, are in Pisces. So if you imagine every archetype as holding like a bucket of paint, okay, and you've got like this canvas that you are to paint, so to speak. If you've got a lot of Pisces paint, because you got 3 planets, right, in Pisces, it's like that's a lot of Pisces energy that you are kind of so-called to work with at your disposal. So there will be, generally a pretty strong disposition when it comes to that energy space, depending on how you channel it, right? There's always a high vibration and, again, depending on how you see it, like a lower vibration of the manifestation of certain energies. For example, Pisces is incredibly creative. It speaks of the imagination, right? The ability to see beyond what is seen, and it's a highly, highly imaginative, yet again, energy. When it's not really channeled consciously, it can lead to a lack of boundaries, right? So it's like the ability to almost transcend any space at any given time. Like, it can also lead to escapism. I actually think, yes, Pisces and Neptune rules narcotics. So depending on what it is and how it is that you channel, how you associate with these energies, there is a certain sort of disposition at your disposal. So it's like, that's why I've found that if you do have a stellium, it really is very important to be aware, first of all, of that. So it's like, so that right off the bat, it's like, well, I've got this sort of possibly in this predisposition. Like, at the same time, it's at my disposal, and how I utilize this gift. Ultimately, I do see it as a gift. All energy. I never, will look at someone's chart and be like, oh, this is not a good placement. People tend to ask that. They're like, is this like a good chart? It's like, I don't see it like, oh, this is like good or bad. It's just, they're all gifts. And how you channel it is how you interact with that space. So basically, stellium is pretty powerful. It can be, because it's almost like, it's kind of like, it's like you've got a lot in a certain way to work with as it relates to a certain archetype. It can be. And so again, I find that knowing what sign or what house your stellium is in, and what it sort of speaks to for you in relation as well to the rest of your chart, can really be very helpful. Because sometimes you'll find, like, holy moly, this can really sort of take me over. Like, if you're not aware, it's like, all of a sudden I feel like I've got this. And especially if you find that there is a sort of energetic imbalance as it relates to that space, then it can be really, really sometimes challenging to grapple with that energy. I'll give you an example. So this goes as well for, if you don't have to have a stellium to sort of like find that sometimes you're in balance. It can also be in terms of the elements. So let's say you've got a lot of water energy in your chart. Like, let's say you don't know stellium, but you've got maybe your sun in Pisces, you got maybe your moon in Cancer. That's a pretty powerful placement. Moon naturally rules Cancer. And let's say you've got your ascendant rising in Scorpio, right? So if this is the case, right, you got 3-point angles placements in water signs. It's gonna be a lot of water energy, again, at your disposal. So if you find, let's say, that it sometimes is, you find that you're channeling the aspect or element of water energy that's sort of like not empowering you. You feel like, well, it's not serving me, right? This ability to empathize, to feel, which is associated with the element of water. Then sometimes it can be helpful to kind of look at the chart. That's why I love looking at the birth chart. And I actually have private services that speak to energetic balance if there's a focus for you. And you want to work on it one-on-one together, we can do that. As of yet, those services are on the website, alchemynew.com, and we can take a look at that. Specifically, I've actually added a few protocols, and they are the planetary protocols. So if you feel like, oh, I'm so in my moon energy, like it's overwhelming me, then we can work on activating, looking at the chart and seeing, well, what might be interacting with that space, and what is it that might be helpful to sort of activate, let's say, consciously, to focus on. So anyways, let's say, right, that you got a lot of water in your chart. First of all, it will be helpful to look at your chart and go, okay, I have this really strong predisposition for water energy, and what is it sort of interacting with? What else is it interacting with in my chart? The element of water. Let's say, what other elements do I have in my chart prominently placed? Will really give you an idea of what sort of, again, you find is a predisposition. So let's give an example. Let's say you've got a lot of water in your chart, right? And let's say you look at your chart and you realize, well, I've also got a lot of fire. Okay, so if you actually imagine the elements, water and fire, right? Let's just say that there isn't a whole lot of earth. Let's say that there is, let's say, some air. Okay, but let's say that overall the strongest elemental archetypes are water and fire in your birth chart. Okay, let's say maybe your Venus is in Aries, or it's so funny, that's my chart, more or less. My moon is in Sagittarius. Well, let's say okay, and let's say your Mars is in Sagittarius, for example. Okay, um, it's interesting because if you think about the actual elements of fire and water, right? You can kind of imagine, well, if you have too much water, let's say your water is kind of like overflowing everywhere, right? Let's say you got the fire, but the water might be putting out the fire a little bit, okay? So if you actually imagine it in that way, then it's like, oh, well, that's really like kind of helpful. Like it allows me to perceive of what is actually happening, let's say, um, you know, where I have certain dispositions and certain, sort of inclinations. And, um, I found it's really helpful to look at it and for example, if you don't have a lot of earth, then it might be helpful to find, the balance space there. We've all got every element and we all can balance, right? These energies, depending on how it is that you choose to channel it and how you channel it. So, but it's always, up to you and always a matter of your perception, right? But I'll give you another example. So, and again, oh yes, I want to say, well, it's not just limited also to elemental archetypes. Like, I have a lot of a certain elemental archetype, or I've got a lot of a certain type of, it can also be in terms of single placements. It can be incredibly powerful and potent. So, again, there will be so many factors, but just generalization. Let's say you've got, I'll give you my example. I've got Mars in Gemini in the house of Scorpio. Now, I actually have a lot of Scorpio chart overall. I've got like 3, 4 planets points in the third house, which is the natural ruling house of Gemini, which goes to show there's another whole another right side, another factor can be to this space, and right, not just like let's say the planets and the signs they're in, but also the houses that they're in. That adds another layer. So you could have Gemini energy like not by way of a planet in Gemini, but maybe number of planets in the house of Gemini, natural ruling house. So which is the third house. Now, anyways, got like 3, 4 planets in the third house, and I've got this I've got my Mars in Gemini in the eighth house, the house of Scorpio. So now it really can come down to how do you channel every placement, right? It's like, well, is this placement serving you? So let me give you the example of, well, Mars and Gemini in the eighth house. It's interesting because if you think about Scorpio, which is the natural ruler of the eighth house, and you think about Gemini, which is the natural ruler of the third house, you bring, two kind of like, yes, Scorpio's water is very intuitive, but it's also really analytical. So, and Gemini is an air sign, so it works with the mind specifically. So you can, you can kind of like imagine where that space could take you. You can kind of call it like inquisitive, right? Or introspective as well. But it will depend like how, again, you channel that, because Gemini rules as well the nervous system. So if you find like, and Scorpio can get kind of paranoid, so take it as you will, right? So again, it's like the higher and the lower vibration. Scorpio can also get like incredibly obsessive. So it's like if you find that you also cannot, let's say, stop, or you get so into something, or you get so invested in a certain space psychologically or intellectually, analytically, even intuitively, then it's like, well, is that the higher vibration that I'm channeling of a certain element? So for example, now, so it can lead to, let's say, even at times anxiety, specifically, the mind, right? Restless mind. If you find you got a lot of Gemini in your chart, oh my, absolutely. It's like a gift to be able to analyze so intensely. At times it can also, it's like, well, I find that I'm analyzing like the littlest of, little things, square inch, areas of my mind. So it's like, it's just interesting to kind of look at the archetypes and really reflect on, well, is it serving me? Because it is, at the end of the day, again, a gift and ability, and it shouldn't really be uncomfortable to channel certain aspects of as I see it, your character. My sister has her moon in Gemini. She's got a lot of air in her chart, so you know, um, very much analytical. But they say, it's funny, they say actually as well, people got a lot of Gemini, they're like, don't drink coffee. Anything that like riles up your nervous system, like, but again, so many at play. Right? If you don't have a lot of earth in your chart, especially to ground that energy, you know. So yeah, but these are just sort of general. Hey, Jose. Sometimes I use the default house system. Yeah. So I find that that has more or less been pretty accurate. With the default house system, I think I can see it. I can see the energy sort of like both ways. With the default, my sun is in my 5th house, the house of Leo, and with another system, it's actually in the 4th house, the house of Cancer. So, oh wow, you have Venus in Gemini. Oh, how interesting! Wow, yeah. So, who has a Gemini on the midhaven? Oh, good. I'm glad that you found that helpful. Glad you found that helpful. So. We've got some progress here that's being made. So, anybody in here have Scorpio stellium? Chris, you have a Scorpio stellium. Markers, you too? Oh my. Wait, planets in Scorpio, planets in the house of Scorpio. Or both. Oh wow. Oh wow. How interesting. Wow. So you got a Scorpio sign. So you got Scorpio sign in the house of Gemini, the 3rd house. That's for markers, right? Oh, your planets are in Scorpio in the 9th house, Carissa? So that's Sagittarius and Scorpio. Wow, very interesting. Interesting. That's so fascinating. We need a campfire going, guys. We need a campfire. Sit around the campfire and just look at birth charts. Pass a birth chart around. It's fun. 44 likes. Thank you, guys. So, yeah, I found like it's pretty, it's powerful, first of all. I mean, Scorpio energy, like, Pluto usually doesn't mess around. Like, 9 out of 10 times, like, doesn't mess around. Like, it's, you know, and how that energy kind of, like, you know, is channeled may be important. So, do you guys find that how do you guys hold a relationship, or how do you find that you connect with your Scorpio energy in an empowering way? And are you aware of like when it kind of slips, like when you find like, oh, that's my Scorpio, that's my Scorpio getting out of control, or my Pluto. You might not have even like you know, 4 or 5 planets, let's say, in Scorpio or the house of Scorpio, but you could have like Pluto at 29 degrees on an angle, for example, or just Pluto on an angle, period, or Pluto, you know, in so many different placements, conjunct, you know, different things, or again, so many different, maybe even aspects of placements. But how do you find that? You ground that energy, or you are able to work with it in an empowering way, which is always subjective, right? But so, also, where are you guys at city-wise right now? Here come the coordinates. She wants to know the coordinates again. No, just city, you know. Owl markers. Very cool. Yeah, that's right, Hillary. You got, right, quite a bit of Scorpio as well. I remember that. Okay, Toronto, New York, Michigan, West Virginia, Texas. Very cool. North Carolina. Very cool. Yeah, so I like that marker. It's very interesting. Like you kind of direct that energy, right? It's like you imagine all of your planets as like children in the house of you. It was like, you know, it's up to you. Like if one of the kids are like kind of like hogging all the toys or like they're acting, you know, out of place, like, right? I've found that that's sometimes helpful for me to kind of see it that way. Like my Pluto is not being fair with my moon right now. Guys are like, I don't know about that, Natalie. It's getting a little wonky for my taste. Talking to your Pluto and your moon. Yep. I do that, actually. I do. You know, I have to sometimes because it's like, you know, they are your sort of, your characters. And this life is your sort of, it's your show, it's your play. So if something is like not really working also for you, you know, the consciousness to kind of like, clarify that, sometimes I think important, needed. But always, you know, take it as you will. It's kind of musings, right? No definites, absolutes. And you never know what other realizations, right, you might kind of communicate with yourself at a certain point. That's my Sag Moon talking. So you guys are like all over. You got the US, you got Canada, and we are winding down in the night in the US on the East Coast. Sorry if that was allowed on my watch time. All right, let me set my watch down to charge. To charge. Okay. Then it will be time to wash the bottle off. We've pretty much got like almost all the label off. And then, let's see. Drink some water, rehydrate, and maybe have some food, and hopefully get an early sleep schedule here started. Hopefully tonight. We'll see about that. But hopefully I'll have that kind of like underway tonight. So all right, you guys, I'm gonna wash this off. I might pop in. I might pop in later and possibly do a reading, but we'll see. If anything, I'm going to post more readings. So stay tuned for that. If you guys find that you're not getting notified, I think that you've got to press that bell icon. So that goes, I think, as well for the lives. Yep. So if you find like I'm not getting notified for lives, then that might be it. It might also be the notifications, in general on your phone with YouTube, but take it as you will. And whatever you feel guided, right, to activate in whatever way. But you guys, it's been so fun. Thank you for connecting, and sleep well for those who are about to head off to bed. And yeah, so I'm gonna kind of like clean up a little more, wrap up a few things, and I'll hopefully post later tonight. All right, love and light to you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you soon. Bye.